We found $15 million that didn't exist in a man's books who wasn't supposed to exist either. He gave me two choices: work for him or disappear. I chose option 3, fall for the monster I was supposed to destroy. Turns out, some debts can only be paid in blood, loyalty, and a love that breaks every rule I ever believed in. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. I truly appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me when there are literally infinite places you could be right now on the internet. So tell me, how's your day been? Mine's about to get a whole lot more interesting because this story is going to have you questioning everything you thought you knew about right and wrong, love and danger. Hit that subscribe button and buckle up for more daily romance stories that'll keep you up way past your bedtime. The numbers didn't lie. They never did. That's what I loved about forensic accounting. Numbers were honest even when people weren't. And right now, staring at my laptop screen at 11 p.m. in my tiny Chicago office, the numbers were screaming that someone was hiding $15 million. I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my tired eyes. Simone Taylor, 32 years old, CPA with a specialty in finding money people didn't want found. My mother used to say I could count before I could walk, that I saw the world in equations and balance sheets. She wasn't wrong. After my ex-husband cleaned out our joint account and disappeared 3 years ago, I'd learned that trusting numbers was safer than trusting people. The Aurora Development Corporation file had landed on my desk 2 weeks ago. Routine audit for a real estate investment firm. Except nothing about it was routine. Money flowed in and out like water, transactions that made no economic sense, shell companies layered so deep I'd needed a week just to untangle the structure. And at the center of it all, a name that appeared nowhere in the official paperwork but everywhere in the shadow ledgers I'd uncovered: Marcus Kane. I pulled up everything I could find on him, which wasn't much. No social media presence, no public records beyond a driver's license and a penthouse address in downtown Chicago. A few society page photos from charity galas where he stood in the background, tall and imposing in custom suits, with dark skin that gleamed under camera flashes and eyes that seemed to see straight through the lens. But the street knew his name. A few careful inquiries to contacts in the financial crimes unit had gotten me warnings instead of information. Drop it, Simone. That's not a rabbit hole you want to go down. Marcus Kane isn't someone you investigate unless you're ready for him to investigate you back, which only made me more determined. I was about to dig deeper when my office door opened. I looked up, irritated that someone had gotten past building security at this hour, and my breath caught in my throat. The man from the photos stood in my doorway, but pictures hadn't captured the raw presence of him. 6'3" of controlled power in a black suit that probably cost more than my car. Dark brown skin, close-cropped hair, a face that was all sharp angles and harder edges. But it was his eyes that held me. Deep brown, almost black, intelligent and intense, and currently fixed on me like I was a problem he was calculating how to solve. Simone Taylor. His voice was deep, smooth, with an edge that made my name sound like both a greeting and a threat. You've been looking into my business. My heart hammered, but I kept my voice steady. Years of depositions and court testimonies had taught me not to show fear. I don't know what you're talking about, and you need to leave before I call security. Security won't help you. He closed the door behind him, and suddenly my spacious office felt very small. Robert already went home for the night. I made sure of it. And the cameras on this floor have been experiencing technical difficulties for the last 20 minutes. So it's just you and me, Simone. Time to have an honest conversation about what you found. I stood slowly, putting my desk between us. I'm conducting a routine audit for Aurora Development. If you have concerns about the process, you can contact my supervisor. Don't insult my intelligence. He moved further into the room with the easy confidence of a predator who'd already won. You're too smart for that. Smart enough to find money I've spent years hiding. Smart enough to trace shell companies through 17 countries. Smart enough to know exactly who I am and what I do. Then you know I have to report this. My hand inched toward my phone. Do you? He was at my desk now, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something expensive and dark, cedar and spice. Close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. Because I've done my research too, Simone. Graduated top of your class at Northwestern. CPA license, forensic accounting certification, expert witness in 23 fraud cases, divorced 3 years ago when your husband emptied your accounts and vanished to Costa Rica. You've been working yourself to death ever since, taking every case, staying late every night, building walls so high no one can hurt you again. The accuracy of his assessment sent ice through my veins. You investigated me. I investigate everyone who gets close to my business. His hand came up and I flinched, but he only reached past me to close my laptop. The question is, what do I do with you now that you know too much? You can't kill me. I hated that my voice shook. People know I'm working this case. My disappearance would trigger investigations. I don't kill accountants, Simone. I'm a businessman. But his smile was cold. I collect debts. And right now, you owe me for the disruption you've caused, the attention you've drawn, the time I'm spending here instead of handling my actual business. I don't owe you anything. Don't you? He leaned against my desk, arms crossed, studying me like I was a particularly interesting column in his ledgers. You spent 2 weeks digging into my operation, 2 weeks of my time monitoring you, covering your tracks, making sure the wrong people don't notice you've noticed. I've invested considerable resources in keeping you alive, Simone. That's a debt. That's insane. That's business. He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo that made my stomach drop. My apartment building, my sister Jasmine leaving with her kids, my niece and nephew I babysat every Thursday. I don't threaten families, but I want you to understand that I know everything about you. Where you live, where your sister works, where those beautiful children go to school. Not because I'd hurt them, I wouldn't, but because you need to understand how serious this conversation is. Rage burned through my fear. You keep my family out of this, then work with me instead of against me. He pocketed his phone. I have a proposition. You're brilliant at finding hidden money. I need someone brilliant at keeping money hidden. Work for me. Restructure my operations, make them cleaner, harder to trace. Do that, and I'll pay you 5 times what you're making now. Refuse. He shrugged. Well, your career ends tonight. I'll make sure every case you've ever touched gets re-examined, every testimony questioned. By the time I'm done, you won't be able to audit a lemonade stand. You can't do that. I can do anything, Simone. That's what having power means. He stood, moved closer, and I pressed back against my desk. But I'd rather have you working for me than against me. You're too valuable to waste, too beautiful to destroy. That last word hung between us, charged with something that wasn't quite threat and wasn't quite promise. This is kidnapping, coercion, illegal. Everything I do is illegal. His hand came up slowly, giving me time to move away, but I was frozen as his fingers caught a strand of my hair that had escaped my bun. But it's also inevitable. You can fight me, but you'll lose. You can run, but I'll find you. Or you can accept that your old life ended the moment you found my money, and your new life starts right now, working for me, with me. I won't help a criminal, but my voice lacked conviction. Yes, you will. His hand dropped, but he didn't step back. Because you're too curious not to, because some part of you, the part that digs deeper when everyone tells you to stop, that refuses to accept the easy answer, wants to know what I've built, how I did it, why someone like me needs someone like you. He wasn't wrong. God help me, some reckless part of me was intrigued by this man and his empire built in shadows. I need time to think. You have 60 seconds. He checked his watch, a Patek Philippe that probably cost 6 figures. After that, I make a call, and your life as you know it ends. Choose, Simone. Fight and lose everything, or work with me and gain more than you've ever imagined. That's not a choice. It's the only choice you're getting. His eyes met mine, and I saw something unexpected beneath the cold calculation. Curiosity. Interest. Something that made my pulse race for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. Tick-tock, beautiful. What's it going to be? I looked at my laptop, at my carefully ordered office, at the life I'd built on rules and structure and safety. Then I looked at him, this dangerous, impossible man who'd walked into my world and shattered every certainty I had. If I do this, I stopped, corrected myself. When I do this, I have conditions. His smile was slow and devastating. I expected nothing less. Name them. My family stays out of this completely. You don't approach them, don't investigate them, don't even think about them. They're civilians. Whatever this is, it stays between us. Agreed. I want full transparency. If I'm restructuring your finances, I need to see everything. No surprises, no hidden operations I stumble into later. Complete access, or I walk. Done. He was enjoying this, I realized. The negotiation. What else? If I find you're doing something I can't live with, human trafficking, hurting innocents, anything that crosses certain lines, I reserve the right to leave. No retaliation, no threats, clean break. His expression went serious. I don't traffic humans, Simone. I don't hurt innocents. I collect debts from people who borrowed money they can't repay. I launder funds for organizations that need clean cash. I facilitate transactions that exist outside legal frameworks. But I'm not a monster, despite what you might think. Then we have a deal. The words came out before I could stop them. We have a deal. He extended his hand. Welcome to my world, Simone Taylor. Try not to let it destroy you. I took his hand, felt the calluses on his palm, the strength in his grip, the heat that sparked where our skin touched. And in that moment, shaking hands with a criminal who just upended my entire life, I felt more alive than I had in 3 years. When do I start? I asked. Right now. He released my hand but didn't step back. Pack up your things. You're coming with me. Tonight? Tonight. Tomorrow. Every day until you've restructured my entire operation and made it untouchable. His hand came up again, this time cupping my face with surprising gentleness. You're mine now, Simone. My accountant, my asset, my responsibility. Get used to it. I should have been terrified, should have fought, should have done anything except stare into those dark eyes and feel heat pool low in my belly. I'm not yours, I whispered. Not yet. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. But you will be. That's not a threat, beautiful. That's a promise. Then he was gone, leaving me alone in my office with my racing heart and the terrifying certainty that I'd just made either the best or worst decision of my life. I had a feeling I'd find out which very soon. If you believe some deals are made with the devil himself and some promises feel like both threat and salvation, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, Simone's first night in Marcus's world is going to change everything. Don't miss it. Marcus's car was exactly what I expected. A black Mercedes S-Class with leather seats that probably cost more than my monthly salary and tinted windows that turned Chicago's nighttime streets into a private movie screen. What I didn't expect was the driver. A woman, maybe 45, with sharp features and sharper eyes that assessed me in the rearview mirror like I was a threat she was calculating how to neutralize. Simone, this is Nina, Marcus said from beside me in the back seat, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from his body. Head of my security. She'll be your shadow until I'm convinced you're not going to do something stupid, like try to run or contact the authorities. Charming, I muttered. Nothing says welcome to the team like a babysitter. Nina's lips twitched. Might have been a smile. I've babysat worse. At least you look like you have some sense. Last accountant Marcus hired tried to skim $2 million his first week. What happened to him? He's an accountant in Alaska now. Marcus's voice was casual. Turns out embezzling from me comes with relocation to very cold, very remote places where spending stolen money is difficult, and satellite internet makes contacting anyone nearly impossible. I turned to look at him. In the dim light of the car, his face was all shadows and angles, beautiful and dangerous in equal measure. You didn't kill him. I told you I don't kill accountants. Too messy, too much attention. He met my gaze. I just make them wish they'd made better choices. And if I make bad choices, you won't. He said it with absolute certainty. You're too smart, too careful, too aware that your family's safety depends on your cooperation. The reminder sent ice through my veins. You said you wouldn't hurt them. I won't. But if you betray me, I'll make sure they know exactly who you really are, what you're doing, how their respectable, rule-following sister became complicit in organized crime. His hand settled on my knee, warm and possessive through my slacks. Shame is sometimes more effective than violence, Simone. Your family thinks you're a hero. Finding out you're working for a criminal, that would break them. And you. I wanted to slap his hand away, wanted to tell him I didn't care what my family thought. But the lie would be too obvious. Jasmine and the kids were everything to me. The thought of disappointing them, of seeing fear or disgust in their eyes. You're a bastard, I said quietly. I'm a realist. His thumb stroked my knee, a small movement that sent unwanted heat through me. But I'm also fair. Do good work, keep my secrets, and you'll be rewarded. Your family will be safe. You'll make more money than you ever imagined. And maybe, his voice dropped lower, intimate, maybe you'll even enjoy working for me. I doubt that. Don't. He leaned closer and I caught that scent again, cedar, spice, and something darker I couldn't name. You're already intrigued. I saw it in your office, the way your eyes lit up when I described what I needed, the challenge of it. You've spent 3 years auditing boring corporations and testifying in tedious fraud cases. But this, restructuring a criminal empire, making billions of dollars disappear so thoroughly that even the FBI can't find them? That's the kind of puzzle that makes your brilliant mind sing. Well, he wasn't wrong. Damn him, he wasn't wrong. The car pulled up to a building I recognized, the Lucent Tower, one of Chicago's most exclusive residential high-rises, the kind of place where penthouses sold for $20 million and the lobby looked like a 5-star hotel. We're going to your place? I asked as Nina parked in a private garage. You're staying in my guest suite tonight. Tomorrow we'll set you up somewhere more permanent. Marcus got out, came around to open my door before I could do it myself. I want you close while you're learning the operation. Plus, my penthouse has secure communications, encrypted internet, and enough countermeasures to make sure no one's listening to our conversations. How paranoid are you? Paranoid enough to still be alive after 15 years in this business. He gestured toward a private elevator. After you. The elevator required both a key card and a fingerprint scan. When the doors closed, it was just Marcus and me in a space that suddenly felt very small. Nina had stayed behind, apparently satisfied that her boss could handle one accountant without backup. Tell me about the money, I said, needing to fill the charged silence. $15 million is a lot to hide. Where's it coming from? Various sources, loan repayments mostly. I lend money to people who can't get traditional financing, charge high interest, collect aggressively when they default. He said it matter-of-factly, like he was describing a legitimate banking operation. Some of it comes from facilitating transactions. People who need to move money quietly pay me to make it happen, and some comes from investments in businesses that operate in gray areas. Gray areas, I repeated. You mean illegal? I mean profitable. The elevator doors opened directly into his penthouse, and I forgot to keep arguing. The space was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago skyline, modern furniture that managed to be both minimalist and inviting, art on the walls that I recognized from auction catalogs. Everything was expensive, tasteful, and utterly impersonal, like a hotel suite designed by someone who understood luxury but not comfort. It's not what I expected, I admitted. What did you expect? Blood-red walls and weapons displays? He moved to a bar, poured 2 glasses of something amber. I'm a criminal, Simone, not a cartoon villain. Could have fooled me with the whole work for me or I'll destroy you routine. That was just business. He handed me a glass. This is personal. Drink. You look like you need it. I took the glass, sniffed. Expensive bourbon, smooth and aged. I wasn't much of a drinker, but tonight seemed like a good night to start. The burn felt good going down, grounding me in the surreal reality of standing in a criminal's penthouse at midnight. So what happens now? I asked. Now I show you why you're here. He gestured toward a door. My office, where I keep the real books. I followed him into a room that was clearly the heart of his operation. Multiple monitors displayed what looked like financial dashboards, real-time feeds, encrypted communication channels. A massive desk held 3 laptops and files that were probably worth millions to the right or wrong people. "This is everything," Marcus said, gesturing broadly. 27 shell companies, accounts in 41 countries, transactions totaling $3 billion annually. It's a masterpiece, but it's getting too complex, too many moving parts. I need someone to streamline it, make it elegant, make it untouchable. I set down my bourbon and moved to the nearest monitor, pulled up a transaction log, and immediately saw the problems. "You're routing money through too many intermediaries, creating bottlenecks, and these shell companies..." I clicked through screens. "They're layered well, but the ownership structure has patterns. Anyone looking closely enough would spot them. Like you did. Like I did." I was already lost in the numbers, seeing the architecture of his empire in columns and code. "You need to randomize the patterns, use different structures for different transaction types, and these accounts in the Caymans, they're too obvious. Everyone uses the Caymans. You should diversify into places like Seychelles, Vanuatu, places that are harder to investigate." I felt him move behind me, close enough that his chest nearly touched my back. "You see it, don't you? The elegance underneath the chaos, the beauty in the numbers." "Numbers don't lie," I murmured, still focused on the screen. "But they can dance if you know how to lead them. And you know how to lead." His voice was low, intimate. "I knew you would. From the moment I saw your work, saw how deep you dug in just 2 weeks, I knew you were exactly what I needed." "Needed for what? Just reorganizing your accounts?" "For everything." His hand settled on my shoulder, warm and heavy. "You're going to revolutionize how I operate, Simone. Make me invisible, untouchable. And in return, I'm going to give you everything you've been denying yourself for 3 years." I turned to face him, which was a mistake because now we were too close, his body caging me against the desk. "What do you think I've been denying myself?" "Passion. Challenge. The thrill of doing something dangerous and brilliant." His hand came up to trace my jawline. "You've been playing it safe since your divorce, taking boring cases, following every rule, keeping your life small and controlled so you can't be hurt again. But that's not who you really are. You don't know who I am. I know you stayed in your office until 11 p.m., working on an audit you could have finished at 5. I know you haven't been on a date in 18 months. I know you're scared to want anything because the last time you wanted something, marriage, partnership, love, it destroyed you." His thumb brushed my lower lip. "But I also know you want this, the challenge, the risk, me. You're insane." But I didn't move away. "Maybe." His other hand settled on my waist. "Or maybe I'm the first person in 3 years who sees you clearly, who sees past the careful accountant to the woman underneath, the one who's brilliant and fierce and starving for something more than safety. This isn't more. This is illegal, dangerous, wrong. And yet you're still here." He leaned closer, his lips so close to mine I could feel his breath. "Still standing in my office looking at my accounts like they're the most fascinating puzzle you've ever seen. Still letting me touch you when you should be running. Why is that, Simone?" Because he was right. Because some reckless part of me was drawn to this, to him, in ways that terrified and thrilled me. Because I'd been playing it safe for so long that I'd forgotten what it felt like to want something I couldn't have. "This can't happen," I whispered. "What can't happen?" But he knew. I could see it in his eyes. "This, us, whatever this is." I put my hand on his chest, meant to push him away, but just felt his heartbeat instead. Strong, steady, real. "You're my employer, my client, the subject of an investigation I should be conducting. But you're not conducting it anymore." His hand tightened on my waist. "You're working for me now, and Simone, I want you to understand something. I don't mix business with pleasure, ever. It's a rule I've followed for 15 years. "Good, then. But I'm going to break that rule for you." He said it simply, absolutely. "Because from the moment you looked up at me in that office with fear and fire in your eyes, I knew. You're not just an asset, you're an obsession. and I don't walk away from my obsessions. That's not. I couldn't form a coherent sentence with him this close, his hands on me, his eyes burning into mine. Tell me you don't feel it. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. Tell me you don't feel this thing between us. This pull, and I'll back off. I'll keep this strictly professional, but look me in the eyes and tell me you feel nothing, Simone. I opened my mouth to lie. To say exactly that, to protect myself from the most dangerous thing I'd encountered yet, not his criminal empire or his threats or his power, but this unwanted, undeniable attraction that made me want things I absolutely shouldn't want. But the lie wouldn't come. I hate you, I said instead. Not yet. His smile was dark and knowing. But you will, before you love me. Hate comes first with us, I think. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Then his phone buzzed, shattering the moment. He stepped back, checking the screen, and his expression went cold. Problem? I asked, grateful for the interruption and hating myself for the disappointment I felt. You could say that. He typed something quickly. Someone just tried to break into one of my warehouses on the south side. Security caught them, but this is the third incident this month. Robbery? Competition. He pocketed his phone. There are other organizations in Chicago who'd love to take over my operations. They've been testing my defenses, seeing where I'm vulnerable. And are you vulnerable? His eyes met mine, and something in them made my breath catch. I wasn't until tonight, but now I have you, and my enemies will see that as a weakness they can exploit. The implication hit me. I'm a target now. You're under my protection now. He moved back to me, took my face in both hands. Which means anyone who touches you answers to me. Anyone who threatens you signs their own death warrant. You understand? You're mine to protect, mine to keep safe, mine. The possessiveness in his voice should have scared me. Instead, it sent heat through my entire body. I'm not yours, I said, but it came out weak. Keep telling yourself that. He released me, stepped back. Come on, I'll show you to your room. Tomorrow we start restructuring the empire. Tonight, you sleep. Try not to overthink this, and accept that your life is never going to be the same. He led me to a guest suite that was larger than my entire apartment. King bed, marble bathroom, a closet already stocked with clothes in my size, because of course he'd thought of everything. The clothes, I started, will fit perfectly because I know your size. I know everything about you, Simone. Remember that. He paused in the doorway. Lock the door if it makes you feel safer, but know that lock won't keep me out if I decide I want in. Nothing will. I own this building, control the security, and I always get what I want. Is that supposed to comfort me? It's supposed to be honest, he smiled. Sleep well, beautiful. Tomorrow your education begins. He left, and I locked the door anyway, knowing he was right. It wouldn't keep him out if he decided to enter. I sat on the bed, still in my work clothes, and tried to process everything that had happened in the last 3 hours. I'd been blackmailed into working for a criminal, moved into his penthouse, felt an attraction so strong it terrified me. And the worst part? Some dark, reckless part of me was excited to see what came next. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Sleep tight, Simone. Tomorrow I teach you how to make money disappear. The day after, maybe I'll teach you other things, things that have nothing to do with numbers and everything to do with how badly I want you. M. I stared at the message, pulse racing. Then I turned off my phone, climbed into bed, and told myself I absolutely would not dream about Marcus Kane and his dangerous hands and his dark promises. I was lying. I dreamed about him all night. I woke up to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, I thought I was home. Then I remembered. The audit. Marcus Kane. The choice that wasn't really a choice. I was in a criminal's penthouse about to become complicit in money laundering, and somehow I'd slept better than I had in months. I found clothes laid out on the chair. Designer jeans that fit perfectly, a silk blouse in deep burgundy, and shoes that were definitely not from my closet. The message was clear. Marcus dressed his people in quality. I was his people now. The thought should have made me sick. Instead, it sent a thrill through me that I absolutely refused to examine. I showered, dressed, and followed the coffee smell to a kitchen that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Marcus stood at the island, dressed casually in dark jeans and a fitted black Henley that showed off arms that I had no business noticing. He was plating what looked like a gourmet breakfast: eggs, fresh fruit, croissants that were definitely not from a grocery store. "You cook?" I asked, surprising myself. He glanced up and his eyes did a slow sweep over me that made my skin heat. "The clothes fit, good. And yes, I cook. One of the few normal skills I have. Coffee?" "Please." I slid onto a bar stool, keeping the island between us. I didn't expect this. "What did you expect? That I'd have servants?" He poured coffee into a mug, added cream without asking how I took it, because of course he already knew. "I value privacy, Simone. The fewer people in my personal space, the fewer potential security risks. So I cook, I clean, I take care of myself. Surprises you?" "Everything about you surprises me." I sipped the coffee, perfect naturally. "You're not what I thought a criminal would be." "And what did you think I'd be? Violent? Crude? Stupid?" He slid a plate in front of me. "The best criminals are the ones who don't look like criminals. We blend in. We're charming at charity galas and ruthless in back rooms. We understand that image is everything." "Is that what last night was? Image management?" His smile was slow and dangerous. "Last night was honesty. I told you exactly what I want. Now eat. We have work to do, and you're going to need your strength." The food was incredible, and I hated that I was enjoying this, sitting in his kitchen, eating his food, pretending this was something normal instead of the beginning of my descent into criminal activity. "Tell me about the warehouse incident," I said between bites. "The break-in." Marcus leaned against the counter, coffee in hand. "I run several legitimate businesses as fronts for the operation. Warehouses, import-export companies, real estate holdings. Someone's been probing them, looking for weaknesses. Last night they got bold. Did your security catch them?" "Two of them. Small-time operators hired to do reconnaissance. They didn't know who hired them. Just got paid through cryptocurrency to check out specific locations." His expression darkened. "But the pattern suggests someone smart. Someone who understands my operation well enough to know where to look." "Inside job?" "That's what I need to find out." He set down his coffee, moved around the island. Suddenly he was behind me, hands on the counter on either side of me, caging me in. "Which is where you come in. I need you to do more than just clean up the money trail. I need you to find the leak. Someone in my organization is feeding information to competitors, and I want to know who." I forced myself not to react to his proximity, to the heat of him at my back. "I'm an accountant, not a detective. You're a forensic accountant. You follow money trails, find discrepancies, uncover fraud. This is the same thing." His voice dropped lower. "Someone's stealing from me, Simone. Either directly or by selling my secrets. Find them. And when I do, what happens to them? That depends on who they are and why they did it." He leaned closer, lips nearly brushing my ear. "But I promise you, their punishment will fit their crime. I'm not as merciful as you might hope." A shiver ran through me. "You're trying to scare me." "I'm trying to be honest with you." His hand came up, fingers ghosting along my arm. "I'm a dangerous man, Simone. I do dangerous things. And now, you're part of that world. You should be scared. The fact that you're not, that you're sitting here having breakfast with me like this is normal, tells me something interesting." "What?" "That you're more like me than you want to admit." He straightened, moved away, and I could breathe again. "Come on, time to see the rest of the operation." The rest of the operation turned out to be a private office building Marcus owned 3 blocks from the penthouse. From the outside, it looked like any other corporate building: glass and steel, professional signage for various businesses. But the entire 15th floor belonged to Marcus's real operation, and getting there required more security clearances than entering the Pentagon. "This is Central Command," Marcus explained, as we entered a space that looked like a high-tech war room. Multiple workstations, massive screens displaying financial data, and a dozen people working with intense focus. Everyone here is part of my inner circle. They know what I do and choose to work for me anyway. A woman looked up from her station, late 40s, black, with natural hair pulled into a professional bun and eyes that assessed me immediately. So this is the accountant who found us. She's prettier than the last one. And smarter, Marcus said. Simone, this is Vanessa Thomas, my CFO and the person you'll be working with most closely. She's been managing the financial operations for 8 years. Vanessa stood, extended a hand. Welcome to the circus. Hope you're ready for the chaos. I shook her hand, surprised by the genuine warmth. I'm ready for whatever this is. Optimistic. I like her. Vanessa glanced at Marcus. You brief her on everything? Most of it. She knows about the competitors probing our defenses. I want her to audit everyone with access to sensitive information, find the leak. Everyone? A man approached, mid-30s, Latino, with tattoos peeking out from under his shirt cuffs and a smile that was probably charming when he wasn't working for a crime boss. Even me, Jefe. Especially you, Diego. But Marcus's tone was affectionate. Simone. Diego Reyes. Head of physical security and Nina's second. If someone needs protection or a problem needs handling, Diego handles it. Diego's handshake was firm. Good to meet you. Fair warning, we're all paranoid here. Don't take it personally if everyone treats you like a potential threat until you prove otherwise. She's already proven otherwise, Marcus cut in, his hand settling possessively on the small of my back. She's under my protection. That means she's one of us now. Anyone have a problem with that? Silence. The message was clear. Marcus had claimed me, and no one was going to challenge that claim. Good. He guided me toward a private office. Let's get you set up. The office was smaller than his penthouse workspace, but just as well equipped. Multiple monitors, encrypted systems, and access to every financial record in his empire. This is yours for as long as you're working here, Marcus said, closing the door behind us. Everything you need is at your fingertips. Start with the shell company restructuring. That's priority 1. Then move to the internal audit. I want to know who's betraying me within 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I turned to face him. Marcus, that's not enough time to... Make it enough time. His expression was hard now, the casual breakfast companion gone. My competitors are getting bolder. Last night was reconnaissance. Next time might be an actual hit on my warehouses or my people. I need to know who's feeding them information before they make a move that costs me millions. Or lives. You really think it could come to violence? It always comes to violence eventually. He moved closer, and I stood my ground. This world I've built, it's balanced on a knife's edge. Power, fear, respect. That's what keeps it stable. But the moment I show weakness, the moment someone thinks they can take what's mine without consequences, everything falls apart. And I'm a weakness now. Understanding dawned. That's what you meant last night. Your enemies will see a woman in your life as a vulnerability to exploit. They'll see you as leverage. His hand came up to cup my face, which is why you don't leave this building or my penthouse without security, why Diego or Nina will be with you everywhere you go, why I'm being very, very careful to make sure everyone knows you're not just valuable, you're mine, because in my world, people don't touch what belongs to Marcus Kane. I don't belong to you. Keep saying it. His thumb stroked my cheekbone. Maybe you'll start believing it. But Simone, the moment you walked into my life, you became mine. You just haven't accepted it yet. Before I could argue, his phone rang. He answered with a curt, "What?" Then his expression went dark. "When? Are they breathing?" "Good. I'm on my way." He hung up, and the change in him was instant, from the man who cooked me breakfast to something colder, harder, lethal. "What happened?" I asked. "One of my people got jumped outside a collection site. 3 guys, armed. She's alive, but hurt." He was already moving toward the door. "Stay here. Diego will watch you. Don't leave. Don't call anyone. Don't do anything until I get back." "Marcus." He turned back, grabbed my face with both hands, and kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was claiming, possessive, desperate. His mouth moved over mine with a hunger that stole my breath, his tongue demanding entry I gave without thinking. I grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer, even as my brain screamed that this was wrong, dangerous, exactly what I shouldn't want. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "That's so you remember," he said roughly. "Remember what this is between us, what it's going to be, and remember that I always protect what's mine." Then he was gone, leaving me alone in the office with swollen lips and a racing heart, and the taste of him still on my tongue. I sank into the desk chair, shaking. This was insane. I was in an office building belonging to a criminal, about to help him hide millions in illegal money, and I'd just kissed him like I was starving for it. What the hell was wrong with me? My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number, not Marcus this time. "You're making a mistake trusting him. Marcus Kane destroys everything he touches. Ask him about his brother. Ask him why he really needs you, before it's too late." A friend. I stared at the message, ice flooding my veins. His brother? Marcus had never mentioned family beyond vague references to protecting his people. Who was texting me? And what did they know about Marcus that I didn't? I was still staring at my phone when Vanessa knocked on the door. "You okay?" she asked, studying my face. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "I'm fine." I pocketed the phone. "Just processing everything." "Yeah, the first few days are always overwhelming." She came in, closed the door. "Look, I know this is a lot, and I know Marcus can be intense, but for what it's worth, you're safe here. He doesn't let just anyone into the inner circle. The fact that he brought you here, introduced you to all of us, that means something." "What does it mean?" She smiled. "It means he trusts you, and Marcus doesn't trust easily. Not after—" She stopped herself. "Not after what?" Vanessa hesitated, clearly weighing how much to say. "Not my story to tell. But if you're going to work here, be close to him. You should know, Marcus has been betrayed before, by someone he loved. It almost destroyed him and cost him everything he'd built. Since then, he's kept everyone at arm's length. Until you. He doesn't love me. He barely knows me." "Love?" Vanessa laughed. "I didn't say anything about love. I said he trusts you. In Marcus's world, that's more valuable and more dangerous. Because if you betray that trust," her expression went serious, "well, let's just say you don't want to find out what happens." After she left, I sat at my new desk and pulled up Marcus's financial records. But I couldn't focus on the numbers. My mind kept circling back to the message. Ask him about his brother. What had happened? And why did someone want me to know about it? I was still thinking about it 2 hours later when Marcus returned. He looked exhausted, blood on his shirt cuff, darkness in his eyes I hadn't seen before. "Is she okay?" I asked. "Your person who got attacked?" "She'll live, broken ribs, concussion, but she'll recover." He moved to the window, stared out at Chicago's skyline. "They wanted her to send a message, left a note saying this is what happens to Marcus Kane's people, that we should all watch our backs." "Who's they?" "I have my suspicions." He turned to face me. "But I need proof before I act. That's where you come in. I need that audit, Simone. Need to know who's selling me out." I made a decision, possibly a stupid one. "I got a message," I said. "Anonymous, warning me about you, telling me to ask about your brother." The change in Marcus was instant and terrifying. His entire body went rigid, jaw clenched, hands fisting at his sides. For a moment I thought he might put his fist through the window. "Who sent it?" His voice was deadly quiet. "I don't know. Unknown number. They said I'm making a mistake trusting you, that you destroy everything you touch." "They're not wrong." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I do destroy things, people, relationships. My brother would tell you that, if he could, but he can't because he's dead, and it's my fault." The raw pain in his voice made my chest ache. Marcus. His name was Julian. He wasn't looking at me anymore, lost in memory. 2 years younger than me. Brilliant, kind, everything I wasn't. He wanted out of the family business. Our father ran a smaller operation before I took over. But I convinced him to stay, to help me build something bigger. Told him we'd go legitimate eventually, that I just needed a few more years to establish the empire. What happened? A rival organization found out about him, took him to get to me, held him for ransom, tortured him for information. Marcus's voice cracked. I got him back, but he wasn't the same. The things they did to him, He couldn't live with it. 3 months later, he put a gun in his mouth and ended it. God, Marcus, I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. He finally looked at me, and the anguish in his eyes was devastating. Be warned, everyone close to me becomes a target. Julian paid the price for my ambition. So did a woman I once cared about. They killed her to hurt me. So will you, if I let myself get too close. That's why this can't happen, Simone. Whatever this is between us, it'll get you killed. I stood, moved to him before I could think better of it. Then why did you kiss me? Why bring me here? Protect me. Tell me I'm yours. Because I'm selfish. His hands came up to frame my face, gentle despite the violence clearly churning inside him. Because I've been alone for 3 years, keeping everyone at a distance, and you walked into my office with your brilliant mind and your beautiful defiance and made me want things I swore I'd never want again. Want what? You. He leaned down, forehead touching mine. All of you. Your intelligence, your passion, your fire. But wanting you and keeping you are two different things. And I don't know if I'm strong enough to keep you safe, Simone, or brave enough to let you go. My heart was breaking for him, for this dangerous, damaged man who'd lost so much and still kept building, kept fighting, kept surviving. You don't have to let me go, I whispered, and you don't have to keep me safe alone. Whatever's coming, whoever's threatening us, we face it together. That's what partners do. Partners, he smiled sadly. Is that what we are? I don't know what we are. I put my hands over his. But I know I'm not running. And I know that kiss this morning wasn't just strategy. So either admit this is real, and we figure it out together, or push me away right now. But don't keep playing this game where you claim me 1 minute and push me away the next. I deserve better than that. For a long moment, he just looked at me. Then he kissed me again, and this time it was different, slower, deeper, full of something that felt dangerously close to tenderness. You deserve so much better than me, he said against my lips, but I'm too selfish to let you have it. So yeah, Simone, this is real. We're real. And God help us both. He kissed me until I forgot where we were, until nothing existed but his hands on my waist, his mouth on mine, the way he made me feel alive and terrified in equal measure. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. Someone's trying to destroy me, he said quietly, using my past, my pain, to turn you against me. We need to find them before they succeed. We will. I meant it. But Marcus, thank you for telling me about Julian, about what happened. I know that cost you. Everything with you costs me, but he was smiling. My control, my distance, my carefully maintained walls. You're expensive, Simone Taylor, but maybe you're worth it. Maybe? I raised an eyebrow. Definitely. He kissed me once more, quick and claiming. Now get back to work. I need my brilliant accountant to save my empire so I can keep kissing her without worrying about assassins. Romantic. I'm a crime boss, not a poet. You'll get used to it. As I returned to my desk, pulled up financial records, and started the work of finding Marcus's traitor, I realized something terrifying. I was already getting used to it, to him, to this impossible, dangerous life I'd fallen into. And I wasn't sure if that made me brave or stupid. Probably both. 3 days of digging through Marcus's financial records taught me something crucial. Criminals are creatures of habit. They think they're unpredictable, but money tells stories. Patterns emerge, and whoever was betraying Marcus had a pattern I was starting to recognize. I sat in my new office at 2 a.m. I'd been pulling late nights, partially because the work was consuming, partially because going back to Marcus's penthouse meant facing feelings I wasn't ready to confront. The kiss had changed things. He'd changed things by letting me see his pain, his past, the vulnerability underneath the criminal mastermind facade. You're still here. I looked up to find Marcus in the doorway, wearing jeans and a leather jacket, looking tired and dangerous and unfairly attractive. I'm close to something, I said, gesturing to my screens. The money trail doesn't lie, and it's telling me a story I don't like. He moved into the office, closed the door. Tell me. Whoever's leaking information isn't doing it for money, at least not directly. There are no unusual deposits, no unexplained income in anyone's accounts. I pulled up transaction logs. But there are expenses, small ones, easy to miss. Burner phones purchased and discarded monthly. Encrypted messaging services paid for with cryptocurrency, and they all trace back to one person. Who? I hesitated. This was going to hurt him. Vanessa. Marcus went very still. You're wrong. I'm not. Look, I showed him the evidence I'd compiled. She's been careful, but not careful enough. The pattern's there once you know where to look. She's been communicating with someone outside the organization for 6 months, right when your competitors started probing defenses. Vanessa has been with me for 8 years. His voice was dangerously quiet. She's family. She was at Julian's funeral. She helped me rebuild after. There's no way she'd betray me. Then explain this. I pulled up more records. 3 days before each security breach, Vanessa made a payment to this encrypted service. 3 days before your warehouse was hit, same thing. Marcus, I know you don't want it to be her, but the numbers don't lie. He stared at the screens, and I watched the realization hit him. The betrayal. The pain. Then his expression went cold, that terrifying emptiness I'd seen when he talked about his brother's death. Where is she now? Home, I assume. Marcus, what are you going to? What I always do when someone betrays me. He was already pulling out his phone. Handle it. I grabbed his arm. Wait, let me talk to her first. There might be an explanation. The explanation is she's been selling my secrets to my enemies. He gently removed my hand. I appreciate the work you did finding this, Simone, but what happens next isn't something you need to see. Marcus, no. I stood, blocking his path. You told me we're partners. That means I don't sit quietly while you do something you'll regret. At least let me be there. Let me hear what she has to say. Why? So you can see what happens to people who betray me? So you understand exactly what world you've entered? But he wasn't moving, wasn't pushing past me. So I can make sure you don't lose more pieces of yourself than you already have. I put my hand on his chest, felt his heart racing beneath my palm. You've lost your brother, lost people you cared about. Don't lose your humanity too. Something flickered in his eyes, surprise maybe, or gratitude. You think I still have humanity left to lose? I know you do. I've seen it. In how you cook breakfast, how you protect your people, how you talked about Julian. I moved closer. Don't let this world make you into something you're not. Let me come with you, please. He covered my hand with his, held it against his chest. If you come, you see everything. The interrogation, the punishment, whatever I decide she deserves. No closing your eyes, no walking away. You witness what happens when someone crosses Marcus Kane. Can you handle that? I wasn't sure I could, but I also wasn't letting him face this alone. I can handle it. We'll see. He raised my hand to his lips, kissed my knuckles. Get your coat. Diego's driving. Vanessa lived in a nice condo in Lincoln Park, the kind of place you could afford if you'd been skimming from a criminal empire for years. Marcus used his own key to enter. Of course, he had keys to all his employees' homes, and we found her in her living room, working on a laptop, wine glass beside her. She looked up when we entered, and her expression went from surprise to understanding to resignation in seconds. You figured it out. She closed her laptop slowly. I wondered how long it would take, smart hiring Simone. I knew she'd find me eventually. Why? Marcus's voice was eerily calm. 8 years, Vanessa. I trusted you, paid you well, treated you like family. Why betray me? Because you killed my son. The words dropped like bombs into the quiet room. I felt Marcus tense beside me. What are you talking about? You don't have a... His name was Michael Chen, 23 years old. Borrowed $50,000 from you 2 years ago to start a business. Couldn't make the payments. Vanessa's voice was steady, but tears streamed down her face. Your collectors came for him. Beat him so badly he ended up in a coma. He died 3 weeks later. The silence was suffocating. I didn't know, Marcus said finally. I didn't know he was yours. Would it have mattered? Vanessa stood, faced him directly. Would you have called off your dogs if you knew? Or would you have done it anyway because that's what you do? You destroy people who can't pay their debts. If I'd known he was your son, you would have what? Been merciful? She laughed bitterly. You don't do mercy, Marcus. You do business, and the business of debt collection doesn't allow for family connections or second chances. I watched you build this empire on broken bodies and ruined lives. I helped you do it, and when it was my own child lying in that hospital bed, her voice broke, I decided you needed to know what it felt like, to lose everything. Marcus moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment he was beside me, the next he had Vanessa pinned against the wall, forearm across her throat. You got my people hurt. His voice was deadly quiet. You fed information to my enemies that could have gotten them killed, because you wanted revenge for something I didn't even know I'd done. Would knowing have changed anything? Vanessa gasped against the pressure on her throat. Would you have forgiven the debt, let him go? Or would you have sent someone else to collect so you wouldn't have to see my pain? I watched Marcus's face, saw the war happening behind his eyes, rage and guilt and grief all fighting for dominance. Marcus. I touched his shoulder gently. Let her breathe. For a moment I thought he wouldn't listen. Then he stepped back, releasing Vanessa. She collapsed to her knees, coughing. Tell me who you've been working with, Marcus said. Give me names and I'll make your death quick. Keep lying and it won't be. Death. Vanessa looked up at him. I've been dead for 2 years, since the day I buried my son. You think I care what you do to me now? Then you won't mind telling me who's paying you to destroy my organization. I'm not being paid. I'm being offered something better than money. She wiped her eyes. They promised me they'd dismantle your empire piece by piece, take away everything you've built, make you feel the loss I felt. That's worth more than any amount of cash. Who promised you that? Vanessa smiled. Someone who hates you as much as I do. Someone who's been waiting years for the right moment to take you down. Someone you trusted once. Give me a name. Marcus pulled a gun from his jacket. I hadn't even known he was armed, and pointed it at her head. Now. Marcus, don't, I started, but he raised his other hand, silencing me. This is business now, Simone. Stay out of it. It's always business with you, Vanessa said. Even when it's personal, even when you're destroying lives, it's just numbers and transactions and debts to collect. She looked at me. Run, Simone, before he destroys you too, before you're collateral damage in someone else's vendetta. She's not going anywhere. Marcus cocked the gun. And you're running out of time. Name. Thomas Garrett. The name hit Marcus like a physical blow. His hand wavered. No. Tom's been dead for 3 years. That's what everyone thinks. Vanessa's smile was cold. But your former best friend, your business partner, the man you betrayed to take over the organization, he's very much alive. And he's coming for everything you took from him. I watched Marcus's world shatter for the second time in a week. Tom died. I went to his funeral. You went to a closed casket funeral because you were told the body was too damaged from the car accident. Vanessa stood slowly. But there was no body, Marcus. He faked his death to get away from you, to plan his revenge, and for 3 years he's been building an empire specifically designed to destroy yours. I'm just one of many people he's recruited. Your former allies, your old contacts, everyone you've ever wronged, we're all working together now, and you're running out of time. Marcus lowered the gun, and I saw genuine fear in his eyes for the first time. Where is he? Everywhere. He knows your operations better than anyone because he helped to build them. He knows your weaknesses, your patterns, your secrets. Vanessa looked at me again, including her. The new accountant you can't stop looking at. The woman you're obviously falling for. Tom knows about Simone, and he's going to use her to destroy you just like you destroyed him. How does he know about me? I asked, ice flooding my veins. I've been here less than a week. He's been watching Marcus for 3 years, waiting for a vulnerability, waiting for him to care about something again. Vanessa's expression was almost pitying. You're that vulnerability, Simone. The moment Marcus brought you into his world, you became the target. Tom's not going to kill you. He's going to make Marcus choose between his empire and your life. And when Marcus chooses wrong, because he always does, Tom will take everything. Marcus's hand was shaking now, gun still pointed at Vanessa, but his focus shattered. How do I find him? You don't. He finds you when he's ready. Vanessa straightened her shoulders. So go ahead, Marcus. Pull the trigger. Kill me. It won't change anything. Tom's plan is already in motion and you can't stop it. You're going to lose everything you built on my son's grave, on Julian's memory, on all the lives you've destroyed. Marcus, I said quietly, put the gun down. She betrayed me, got my people hurt. She deserves justice, maybe even deserves to die, but not like this. Not while you're emotional and scared and thinking about the Tom instead of thinking clearly. I moved closer, put my hand over his on the gun. Let Diego handle this. Let's go back, regroup, figure out what Tom's planning. But don't do something you'll regret because you're angry. For a long moment, Marcus just stared at Vanessa. Then he lowered the gun, handed it to me, which was probably not a great idea, but I took it anyway, and pulled out his phone. Diego, Vanessa's compromised. Come get her, take her to the facility, keep her alive and comfortable but contained until I decide what to do with her. He hung up, looked at Vanessa. You're right that killing you won't change anything, but you're wrong that I always choose wrong. This time, I'm choosing to walk away, to think, to plan. And then I'm going to find Tom, and I'm going to end this properly. He'll kill her, Vanessa said, nodding at me. Not because he wants to, but because he knows it's the only way to destroy you completely, just like you destroyed him. What did I do to Tom? Marcus asked. What betrayal is he avenging? You don't even remember. Vanessa laughed bitterly. That's the worst part. You ruined him so casually you forgot about it. But he remembers. He'll always remember. And soon you'll understand exactly what you did. Diego arrived 10 minutes later with 2 men I didn't recognize. They took Vanessa without violence, professionally and efficiently. She didn't resist, didn't fight, just went quietly like someone who'd already made peace with her fate. When we were alone in her condo, Marcus sank onto her couch, head in his hands. I don't remember, he said quietly. What I did to Tom, we were friends, partners. We built this empire together, and then he died, and I took over everything, and He looked up at me. I don't remember betraying him, Simone. But Vanessa's right. I've destroyed so many people that they all blur together. What if I did something terrible and just forgot about it? I sat beside him, took his hand. Then we find Tom and we ask him. We get the truth. But Marcus, you can't fall apart now. If he's been planning this for 3 years, if he's recruited all your enemies, we need to be smart, strategic. We need to get you somewhere safe. He squeezed my hand. Vanessa's right about one thing. You're a vulnerability now, a target. I should send you away, hide you where Tom can't find you. No. I grabbed his face, forced him to look at me. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. Whatever Tom's planning, we face it together. That's what you said we were, partners, so act like it. You could die if I keep you close, if Tom gets to you. Then we make sure he doesn't. I kissed him, firm and claiming. I'm not going anywhere, Marcus. You're stuck with me, for better or worse. Probably worse, he murmured against my lips. This is going to get so much worse before it gets better. Then we survive the worst together. I kissed him again. Now take me home. I need to start digging into Tom's background. If he's been building a rival empire, there will be financial traces, patterns, something I can find. You're not going to suggest we call the police, FBI? Someone legitimate who could actually help. And tell them what? The 2 criminals are fighting over an illegal empire and I'm caught in the middle? I stood, pulled him up with me. No, we handle this ourselves, the way you've always handled threats. By being ruthless? By being smarter than the enemy. I smiled. Lucky for you, you have the smartest accountant in Chicago on your side. Luckiest thing that ever happened to me, he said, and from the look in his eyes, he meant it. We left Vanessa's condo, and I tried not to think about what would happen to her. Tried not to imagine Marcus's facility or what contained really meant. But I'd chosen this world, chosen him, and that meant accepting darkness along with the light. In the car, Marcus pulled me close, and I let myself sink into his warmth. Simone, he said quietly, thank you for stopping me back there, for reminding me I'm more than just a monster. You're not a monster, Marcus. You're a man who's made hard choices and paid brutal prices. But you're also someone who cooks breakfast and mourns his brother and tries to protect people even when it's impossible. That's who you are. Don't let Tom or anyone else make you forget that. He kissed the top of my head. I'm falling for you. You know that, right? This isn't just obsession or attraction. I'm actually falling for you, and it's terrifying. Good. I looked up at him. Because I'm falling too. And if we're going to face Tom together, if we're going to survive whatever's coming, we should at least be honest about what this is. And what is this? Something real. Something worth fighting for. Something neither of us expected, but both of us need. I kissed him softly. We'll figure out the details later. Right now, we have a ghost to hunt. Marcus smiled. A real smile, not the cold, calculated one he wore for the world. A ghost to hunt. I like that. Tom thinks he's been haunting me. Time to show him what happens when the ghosts come home. As Diego drove us through Chicago's night streets, I realized the danger was just beginning. Tom Garrett was alive. He'd been planning revenge for 3 years, and I was the weapon he planned to use against Marcus. But I had plans of my own, and I was done being anyone's pawn. The next 48 hours were a blur of financial records, encrypted communications, and Marcus teaching me exactly how dangerous his world could be. We didn't go back to the penthouse. Instead, Marcus took me to what he called a safe house, a converted loft in an industrial district that looked abandoned from the outside but was a fortress inside. Reinforced walls, surveillance systems, enough weapons to outfit a small army, and 2 bedrooms separated by a hallway that felt simultaneously too long and not long enough. Because the tension between us was reaching a breaking point. Every accidental touch sent electricity through me. Every shared glance across laptops and financial records felt weighted with unspoken promises. We were hunting a ghost, building a defense against an enemy we couldn't see, and somehow, in the middle of all that danger, all I could think about was how Marcus looked when he was focused, jaw tight, eyes intense, hands moving over keyboards with the same confidence he'd shown when he touched me. You're staring, he said without looking up from his screen. I'm thinking. I turned back to my own work, pulling up another shell company trace. About how Tom could have hidden an entire empire for 3 years without leaving obvious traces. Because he learned from the best. Marcus leaned back in his chair, rolled his shoulders. We'd been at this for 16 hours straight. I taught him everything I know about hiding money, creating false identities, building networks in shadows. He's using my own tactics against me. Then we think like him. What would you do if you were planning to destroy yourself? Marcus smiled darkly. That's a disturbing question, but fair. He stood, moved to the windows overlooking the warehouse district. I'd identify vulnerabilities, personal connections, business dependencies, legal exposure. Then I'd attack systematically, destroying each foundation until the whole structure collapsed. So what are your vulnerabilities? You. He said it without turning around. Right now, my biggest vulnerability is sitting 10 feet away from me, digging through financial records and looking too beautiful for someone who hasn't slept in 2 days. Heat flooded through me. Marcus. It's true. Before you, I didn't have vulnerabilities. I kept everyone at arm's length. Didn't let anyone matter enough to use against me, but you, he turned to face me. You've become something I can't afford, something Tom will absolutely exploit. Then what are you going to do? I stood, crossed the space between us. Push me away, send me into hiding, pretend this thing between us doesn't exist? I should. His hand came up, cupped my face. I should put you on a plane to somewhere far away where Tom can't reach you, where you'd be safe from me and my world and the war that's coming. But you won't. But I won't. His thumb traced my lower lip. Because I'm selfish. Because I need you here, working with me, being the one person who sees past the monster to whatever's left underneath. Because... He leaned closer, lips nearly touching mine. Because the thought of losing you terrifies me more than anything Tom could do. Then stop talking about it and kiss me already. He did. Not the desperate, claiming kisses from before. This was different, slower, deeper, like he was memorizing the taste of me. His hands slid into my hair, tilting my head exactly where he wanted it, and I melted into him with a sigh that came from somewhere deep and desperate. We shouldn't do this, he murmured against my lips. Not while Tom's out there, not while you're in danger because of me. Probably not, I pulled him back down. Do it anyway. His control snapped. Suddenly I was against the wall, his body pressing into mine, his mouth hot and demanding. His hands roamed, shoulders, waist, hips, like he couldn't touch enough of me at once. And God, I wanted more, wanted his shirt off, wanted skin against skin, wanted to forget about Tom and danger and consequences. But Marcus pulled back, breathing hard, forehead resting against mine. Not like this, he said roughly. Not when we're exhausted and scared and running on adrenaline. When I take you to bed, Simone, and I will take you to bed, it'll be because we have time, because I can do it properly, because you're choosing me, not just reacting to danger. I am choosing you. Tomorrow, ask me again. He kissed me once more, softer. If you still want this after you've slept, after you've had time to think clearly, I'll give you everything. But tonight, you need rest. And I need to make some calls to people who might know where Tom is hiding. He was right, and I hated it. But I also loved that he cared enough to wait, to make sure I was certain. Fine, I conceded. But Marcus, tomorrow I'm asking, and you better be ready to follow through. His smile was pure sin. I'll be ready, beautiful. That's a promise. I woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of angry voices. Stumbling out of my bedroom, I'd crashed for maybe 4 hours. I found Marcus on the phone, pacing, fury radiating from him. I don't care what it costs, he was saying. Find him. I want eyes on every property he's ever owned, every contact he's ever made, everyone who owes him a favor. Someone knows where Tom is, and I want that someone found today. Yes, today. Am I unclear? Good. He hung up, saw me, and his expression softened slightly. Morning. Coffee's on the counter. What's wrong? I poured myself a cup, desperately needed after too little sleep. Besides the obvious. One of my warehouses was hit last night. Professional job. They knew exactly where the cameras were, where security was weakest. Took $2 million in cash I had stored there and left another message. He showed me his phone, a photo of graffiti on the warehouse wall. Debts come due. Tom's message. Tom's declaration of war. Marcus pocketed his phone. He's done with subtlety. He's coming for me directly now, which means... The door burst open. Diego rushed in, gun drawn, followed by Nina. We have a problem, Diego said. Big one. What now? Marcus moved to the weapons cabinet, started arming himself. Someone delivered this to the office. Nina held up a tablet showing a video file. It's addressed to both of you. We haven't played it yet. Thought you should see it first. Marcus gestured for her to play it. The screen filled with a man's face, late 30s, white with cold blue eyes, and a smile that made my skin crawl. He sat in what looked like an expensive office, completely at ease. Hello, Marcus. Tom's voice was educated, smooth. It's been a while. 3 years to be exact, since my funeral, I believe. Thank you for coming, by the way. The flowers were lovely. Son of a bitch, Marcus breathed. I know you've been looking for me, Tom continued. And I know your brilliant new accountant has probably found some of my operations. Simone Taylor. Yes, I know all about her. MIT graduate forensic accounting specialist, divorced 3 years ago. Sister named Jasmine, niece and nephew she adores. Very thorough background, Marcus. Well done. Ice flooded my veins. He knew everything about me. By now you're wondering why I'm doing this, why I faked my death, built a rival empire, spent 3 years planning your downfall. So let me refresh your memory. Tom's expression went cold. 5 years ago, we were partners, equal partners in the organization we built together. But you got greedy, Marcus. You wanted control. So you set me up, made it look like I was stealing from our clients, feeding information to the FBI. You destroyed my reputation with everyone we worked with. And when I confronted you, you told me to disappear or you'd make sure I went to prison. Marcus's face had gone pale. Tom, I didn't. You did. The video Tom wasn't looking at Marcus, but his words landed like blows. You systematically destroyed me because you wanted sole control. So I gave you what you wanted. I disappeared, faked my death. And I've spent 3 years building something better than what we had. An empire specifically designed to take yours apart piece by piece. Why tell me this now? Marcus's hands were fists. If you wanted me dead, you could have done it already. Because I don't want you dead. Tom smiled. I want you destroyed. I want you to feel the loss I felt, to watch everything you built crumble, to understand what it's like when someone you trusted takes everything. He paused, and I'm going to use Simone to do it. No, I started, but Tom kept talking. I'm offering you a choice, Marcus, a debt to settle, if you will. Give me your empire, every account, every operation, every asset, and I'll let Simone live. Refuse and she dies, slowly, and you get to watch, just like I watched you destroy me. You're insane, Marcus growled. I'm thorough. Tom leaned forward. You have 72 hours to decide. Transfer everything to the accounts I'll send, walk away with nothing, and Simone goes free. Keep fighting, and I start sending you pieces of her. Your choice, but choose wisely. I learned from the best how to collect debts, and this one's long overdue. The video ended. Silence filled the loft. Well, I said finally, voice shaking, that's not ideal. Marcus was on me in 2 strides, hands framing my face, eyes wild. I'm getting you out. Tonight. New identity, new location, somewhere he'll never find you. No. I grabbed his wrists. Running won't help. He's been planning this for 3 years. He'll find me. And even if he doesn't, he'll just target someone else I love. Jasmine. The kids. This doesn't end until we end it. I can't let him hurt you. And I can't let you give up everything you've built. I pulled his hands down, held them. We're smarter than him, Marcus. We have something he doesn't. What's that? Each other. He's alone, angry, consumed by revenge. We're partners. That gives us an advantage. I took a breath. And I have an idea. A crazy, dangerous idea that might get us both killed, but also might work. I'm listening. We give him what he wants. We transfer the empire. Simone. Let me finish. We transfer the empire, but we rig it. Hidden backdoors in every account, timers in every system, kill switches that let us take it all back remotely. We let him think he's won, let him get comfortable, and then we destroy everything. Not just his new empire, everything. Both operations burn and we walk away. Marcus stared at me. You'd do that? Help me destroy billions of dollars, your work, everything? I'd burn the world down if it kept you safe. The truth of it surprised me. This empire you built, it's not worth your life, Marcus. It's not worth mine. So we end it. We end Tom, and we start over, together, clean. That would make us legitimate. That would make us free. I moved closer. No more looking over your shoulder. No more waiting for the next betrayal. We take the cash we can grab, disappear somewhere beautiful, and build something real. Something that doesn't cost pieces of our souls. For a long moment, he just looked at me. Then he kissed me. Desperate, grateful, awed. You're either the smartest woman I've ever met, or the craziest. Both. Definitely both. I kissed him back. So what do you say? Ready to burn it all down and run away with your accountant? I've been ready since the moment you walked into my life. He pulled back, turned to Diego and Nina, who'd been silently watching our entire exchange. Get everyone to the safe locations. No one stays in any primary buildings. As of right now, we're ghosts. And someone get me a meeting with every hacker I've ever employed. We're building the biggest financial time bomb this city has ever seen. And when Tom figures out what we're doing, Nina asked. He won't. Not until it's too late. Marcus pulled out his phone. Because we're going to give him exactly what he wants. We're going to act broken, desperate, defeated. And when he thinks he's won, when he's celebrating and getting careless, his smile was cold and beautiful and terrifying. That's when we strike. Diego grinned. I always liked her. She's vicious. She's perfect. Marcus pulled me close. And she's mine. So let's make sure Tom understands that some debts can only be paid in blood. The next 60 hours were chaos. Marcus assembled his best people, hackers, accountants, security specialists, and we built what I privately called Operation Scorched Earth. Every account got backdoors, every shell company got kill switches, every asset got remote detonators that would liquidate and disperse funds so thoroughly not even God could track them. And through it all, Marcus stayed close, not smothering, but present, his hand on my lower back as we worked, his lips on my temple when I got frustrated, his body pressed against mine when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm us both. The attraction that had been building since the moment we met finally reached critical mass on hour 57. I was reviewing final code when Marcus appeared behind me, hands on my shoulders, lips at my ear. Take a break, he murmured. Almost done. Take a break, Simone. His hand slid down my arms, pulling me up from my chair and against his chest. You've been at this for 20 hours straight. You need rest. So do you. I need you. His arms wrapped around me from behind. Need to feel you, touch you. Remember why we're doing this? I turned in his arms, saw the exhaustion and fear and hunger in his eyes. Marcus, tomorrow we hand everything to Tom. Tomorrow the war starts. But tonight, his hand came up, traced my jaw. Tonight I need you to be mine, really mine, not just my accountant or my partner, mine. I thought you wanted to wait until I was sure. Are you sure? His eyes searched mine. Because if you're not, tell me now. Once I have you, Simone, I'm not letting go. Ever. You need to know that before we do this. I grabbed his shirt, pulled him down to me. I'm sure. I've been sure since you cooked me breakfast, since you told me about Julian, since you looked at me like I was worth burning your empire for. I'm yours, Marcus. Completely. Thank God. He lifted me, and I wrapped my legs around his waist as he carried me to his bedroom. Because I've been dying to do this properly. What happened next was heat and need, and 3 weeks of tension finally exploding. He laid me on his bed like I was precious, then proceeded to worship every inch of me with his hands and mouth and whispered promises that made me burn. Clothes disappeared, barriers fell, and when he finally moved inside me, it felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff simultaneously. Look at me, he demanded, one hand fisting in my hair, the other gripping my hip. Keep your eyes on me, Simone. I want to watch you fall apart. I couldn't look away even if I wanted to. His eyes held me captive as he moved, each thrust deliberate and devastating, building pleasure so intense I thought I might shatter. Marcus. His name came out broken, desperate. I know, beautiful. I've got you. His rhythm quickened and his hand slid between us, finding exactly where I needed him. Let go. Give me everything. I came apart in his arms, his name on my lips, and he followed seconds later, burying his face in my neck as he shuddered against me. After we lay tangled together, breathing hard, skin cooling in the quiet. That was, I started. Everything, he finished. That was everything. He pulled me closer, kissed my forehead. No regrets? Not one. I looked up at him. Whatever happens tomorrow, whatever Tom does, I don't regret this. Regret you. I'd choose you 1,000 times, Marcus. Even knowing what I am, what I've done, especially knowing. I traced the scar on his shoulder. I'd found several during our lovemaking, maps of violence written on his skin. You're not just what you've done. You're also what you're trying to be. And I love both versions. His breath caught. You love me. I love you. Saying it felt like freedom. I know it's fast and crazy and probably stupid, but I love you. The criminal and the man, the monster and the person who makes me breakfast, all of you. Simone. He kissed me like I was oxygen. I love you too. So much it terrifies me. So much I'd burn everything I've built just to keep you safe. Then it's a good thing we're burning it together? I smiled against his lips. Partners in crime. Literally. Partners in everything. He pulled me on top of him and I felt him hardening again beneath me. And we have a few hours before sunrise. Think we can manage to forget about Tom for a little while longer? I think that's an excellent idea. I kissed him, rolled my hips, watched his eyes go dark with renewed hunger. But Marcus, when this is over, when Tom's dealt with and we're free, I want you to teach me everything about your world, your empire, all of it. Because I'm not just your accountant anymore. I'm your partner, and I want to know everything. Everything, he agreed. But right now, let me show you what I can do with my tongue when I'm not talking about criminal enterprises. He did. Several times. And by the time the sun rose on our last day of preparation, I was thoroughly exhausted, completely satisfied, and absolutely certain of one thing. I'd follow Marcus Kane into hell itself. Good thing that's exactly where we were headed. The transfer happened at noon in a neutral location, a high-rise conference room downtown that Tom had rented under a shell company I'd already traced and cataloged. Marcus wore a suit that probably cost 5 figures and an expression that screamed defeat. I stood beside him in a conservative dress, playing the terrified accountant perfectly. Diego and Nina flanked us, armed but not obviously so. Tom sat at the head of the conference table like a king claiming his throne. He'd aged in 3 years, more gray at his temples, lines around his eyes, but the cold intelligence I'd seen in the video was sharper in person. Marcus, Tom's smile was all teeth. Right on time, I'm impressed. Usually you make people wait, assert dominance, but today you're punctual, must be motivated. You threatened the woman I love. Marcus's voice was flat, empty. That tends to motivate. Love. Tom laughed. That's rich. You don't love anyone, Marcus. You collect people like assets. Use them until they're no longer useful. Ask me how I know. I know what I did to you, Tom. Marcus sat, gestured for me to sit beside him. And I'm sorry. I was ambitious, ruthless, and I destroyed you to take control. You're right to hate me, right to want revenge. But Simone has nothing to do with our past. Let her go, and I'll give you everything. Oh, you'll give me everything anyway. Tom pulled out a tablet. These are the account access codes, transfer authorizations, and control passwords for your entire empire. Sign them over, and your accountant walks out of here alive. Refuse. He nodded to the corner where 2 men stood, both armed. Well, you're a smart man. Do the math. I put my hand on Marcus's arm, playing my role. Just do it, please. It's not worth dying over. Listen to her, Tom said. She's smarter than you deserve, though I have to ask. He leaned forward, studying me. What's it like, Simone? Sleeping with a man who's destroyed hundreds of lives? Does he tell you about the people whose families he's ruined collecting debts, the businesses he's bankrupted, the blood on his hands? He tells me everything. I met Tom's gaze directly, including how you and he built this empire together, how you were partners, brothers almost, which makes your betrayal of him just as bad as his betrayal of you. Tom's expression flickered. I never betrayed Marcus. Didn't you? I pulled out my own tablet, one of several contingencies we'd planned. I've been going through the old records, the ones from 5 years ago when you two had your falling out. And I found something interesting. Transactions that Marcus never authorized, client money disappearing into accounts he couldn't trace, all time-stamped to when you were CFO. That's, Tom started. Evidence that you were stealing first. I showed him the records. Marcus found out, confronted you, and you tried to flip the script. Make it look like he was setting you up when really you were covering your own crimes. He didn't destroy you, Tom. He caught you. And instead of facing consequences, you faked your death and spent 3 years plotting revenge for a crime you actually committed. The silence in the room was deafening. Tom stared at the tablet, And I watched the realization cross his face, the anger, the denial, then, terrifyingly, acceptance. "You're good," he said finally, looking at me with something like respect. "Marcus always could pick talented people. And you're right. I was skimming. Needed money for debts Marcus didn't know I had, mistakes I'd made before we partnered up. But Marcus," he looked at his former friend, "you didn't just catch me. You humiliated me, told everyone in the organization I was a thief, made sure I could never work in this world again. You destroyed my reputation over $2 million when you were making hundreds of millions. Because trust matters more than money." Marcus's voice was steel. "You were my partner, my friend, and you stole from me, from us. What did you expect me to do? I expected you to give me a chance to explain, to pay it back. Instead, you cut me out like I was nothing." Tom stood, hands flat on the table. "Do you know what it's like? Watching someone you considered a brother destroy you without even asking why? I would have told you about my debts, would have worked something out, but you didn't care about explanations. You only cared about control." "You're right." Marcus's admission clearly surprised Tom. "I handled it badly. I was young, angry, and I wanted to send a message to everyone in the organization that stealing from me had consequences. I made you an example, Tom, and that was wrong. But spending 3 years planning my destruction, threatening to kill an innocent woman, that doesn't make us even, that makes you worse." "Then I guess we're both monsters." Tom sat back down. "Which brings us back to the present. Sign over the empire, Marcus. Or I start with her fingers and work my way up." Marcus looked at me and I gave him the smallest nod. This was it, the moment we'd planned for. "Fine." Marcus pulled out a pen. "You win, Tom. You always were the better strategist. I was just too arrogant to see it." He started signing documents, transferring accounts, handing over access codes. I watched Tom's expression shift from suspicious to triumphant. He actually believed Marcus was giving up, believed he'd won. Fool. "All of it?" Tom asked when Marcus finished the last signature. "Every account, every company, every asset. Every single one." Marcus pushed the tablet across the table. "It's yours, the empire I built on your grave. Hope it's worth the 3 years you spent plotting revenge." Tom took the tablet, started verifying the transfers in real time. His smile grew with each confirmed transaction. "It's all here. You actually did it. You gave me everything. I gave you what you wanted." Marcus stood, held out his hand to me. "Now let her go. That was the deal." "The deal was she lives if you cooperate. I never said when she goes free." Tom's expression went cold. "See? I learned from watching you, Marcus. Always keep leverage, always maintain control. So Simone stays with me for 72 hours while I verify everything is legitimate. If it is, she walks. If you've hidden anything, tried to trick me." He smiled. "Well, she won't walk, or talk, or breathe." That wasn't the deal. Marcus started forward, but Tom's men raised their guns. "It's the deal now." Tom stood. "Take her." The men moved toward me, and I did exactly what Marcus and I had planned. I fought, screamed, made it look convincing while Marcus shouted and Diego and Nina reached for weapons they were ordered not to draw. "Stop!" Tom's voice cracked like a whip. "Marcus, call off your dogs or I shoot her right now." Marcus raised his hands, fury and helplessness warring on his face. Perfect acting. "Don't hurt her, please. I did what you asked. And now you wait while I verify you're not trying to screw me one last time." Tom grabbed my arm, yanked me toward the door. 72 hours, Marcus. If everything checks out, you get her back. If it doesn't, you get her body." They dragged me out while Marcus shouted my name, playing his role flawlessly. The door slammed shut, and I was alone with Tom and his men in an elevator descending to an underground parking garage. "That was convincing," Tom said, studying me. "The fear, the resistance. Almost like you actually care about him." "I do care about him. Not acting now. And you just made the biggest mistake of your life." "Did I?" He smiled. "I have you. I have his empire, and I have 72 hours to disappear before he figures out how to retaliate. Seems like I'm doing pretty well." You have accounts that are going to self-destruct in 60 hours. Shell companies with timers that will liquidate and scatter funds across 800 random accounts worldwide. And security protocols that will lock you out of every system the moment you try to move any significant amount of money. I smiled. You don't have his empire, Tom. You have a very elaborate trap, and in 60 hours it's going to eat you alive. His expression went from triumphant to horrified in seconds. You're lying. Am I? Check the code yourself. I'm sure your hackers are good, but I'm better. I spent 3 days rigging that empire to explode. Every account, every company, every asset, all of it designed to destroy itself and take you down with it. I leaned closer. Marcus was willing to burn everything he built if it meant stopping you. That's the difference between you two. He knows when to let go. You never learned. Tom's hand shot out, grabbed my throat. You're going to undo it, right now, or I kill you slowly. Kill me and you'll never figure out how to disarm it. I kept my voice steady despite the pressure on my windpipe. But let me go, call this off, and maybe, Marcus will show you mercy you don't deserve. For a moment I thought he'd actually kill me. His hand tightened and spots appeared in my vision. Then his phone rang. He released me to answer it, listened for 30 seconds, and his face went white. What do you mean the accounts are frozen? He was shouting now. I just verified the transfers. They were all active. He listened again. No, that's not possible. She's lying. She has to be lying. But I wasn't lying. And the beautiful part of our plan was that the trap had already sprung. The moment Tom had verified the transfers, logged into the systems with the access codes Marcus gave him, he'd triggered protocols that froze everything. Not immediately. That would have been too obvious. But slowly, like ice creeping across a lake, locking him out account by account while we watched remotely. Tom hung up, looked at me with murder in his eyes. Undo it. Now. No. He pulled out a gun, pointed it at my head. I said, undo it. Shoot me and lose your only chance at fixing this. Because Marcus isn't going to help you. Diego isn't going to help you. No one in that organization will lift a finger to save you. I stood, faced him directly. You threatened me, Tom. Threatened to torture me to hurt Marcus. You know what that makes you in his world? Dead. You're already dead. You just haven't stopped breathing yet. I could have killed him years ago. Tom was unraveling, the careful facade cracking. I've had a dozen opportunities. But I wanted him to suffer first, to lose everything, to understand what I felt. And instead, you gave him something to fight for, someone to fight for. I smiled. Me. You made me his cause, Tom. And now he's coming for you with everything he has. Every ally, every resource, every ounce of ruthlessness you taught him when you were partners. Hope your 3 years of planning was worth it. The elevator doors opened to the parking garage, and Tom dragged me toward a waiting car. But I'd already seen what he hadn't. Nina's SUV parked 3 spaces away, engine running. Everything happened fast. Nina appeared from behind a pillar, gun trained on Tom. Diego came from the other side, flanking. And Marcus, beautiful, furious, deadly Marcus, stepped out of the shadows with a gun and an expression that promised violence. Let her go, Tom. Marcus's voice was ice. This ends now. You were supposed to be upstairs. Tom pulled me in front of him, gun to my head. How did you... Anticipated you'd want leverage. Planned for it. Had my people in position before we even arrived. Marcus moved closer, fearless. You're not walking out of here, Tom, but you can choose how you go out. Let Simone go and I'll make it quick. Keep her, hurt her, and I'll make sure your death takes days. You won't shoot while I have her. Won't I? Marcus raised his gun, aimed directly at us. I'm an excellent shot, Tom. You know that. I can put a bullet through your eye from here without touching her. Want to test me? Tom's hand was shaking now. The gun at my temple wavered. This wasn't supposed to happen. I had it all planned. You planned for the Marcus from 3 years ago, the one who was alone, who kept everyone at arm's length, who valued his empire above everything. Marcus's eyes met mine, and I saw love there alongside the lethal intent. But I'm not that man anymore. She changed me, made me realize some things are worth more than power or revenge or holding on to grudges. So here's my final offer. Let her go, and I'll let you run. Disappear like you did before. I won't hunt you, won't come after you. You get to live. And my empire? Burned. Gone. Every account we rigged has already self-destructed. Everything you stole from me is scattered across accounts you'll never trace. You get nothing except your life. Marcus lowered his gun slightly. Take the deal, Tom. Walk away while you still can. I felt the moment Tom made his decision, felt his muscles tense, his breathing change. He was going to shoot me out of spite, take me down with him because if he couldn't have his revenge, at least he could take away what Marcus loved. But I'd spent 3 weeks learning from the best debt collector in Chicago, learning to anticipate violence, to move first. I dropped my weight suddenly, ducked under Tom's arm, and rolled away. 3 shots rang out simultaneously. Marcus, Nina, Diego. And Tom went down hard, gun clattering across concrete. Then I was in Marcus's arms, his hands checking me frantically for injuries, his voice rough with fear and relief. You're okay? You're not hurt? I'm fine. I grabbed his face, made him look at me. It worked. The plan worked. You were supposed to stay behind me when you dropped, not roll toward the open. You could have been hit. But I wasn't. I kissed him, hard and grateful and alive. We did it, Marcus. It's over. Behind us, Diego checked Tom's pulse. He's gone, boss. Clean shots. He didn't suffer. Marcus looked at his former friend's body, and I saw grief flicker across his face. For the friendship they'd once had. For the partnership destroyed by betrayal and pride and revenge. I'm sorry, he said quietly to the corpse. For my part in this. For not giving you a chance to explain. For choosing control over compassion. I'm sorry, Tom. Then he turned away, pulled me close, and we walked toward the exit. Nina and Diego handled cleanup. They were professionals at making problems disappear. Marcus and I got in his car, drove away from the parking garage and the body and the 3 years of vendetta that had finally ended. We drove in silence until we reached the lake, where Marcus parked, and we just sat, watching water reflect afternoon sunlight. It's really over, I said finally. The empire's gone, every account destroyed, everything I built for 15 years. He stopped, took my hand. And I don't care. I'd burn it all 1,000 times if it meant keeping you safe. What do we do now? Now. He smiled, and it was lighter than I'd ever seen him. Now we disappear. I have cash hidden in places Tom never knew about, enough to start over somewhere beautiful. Buy a house on a beach, open a restaurant maybe. I cook, you manage the books, legitimate books this time. We build something real. You'd really walk away? From the power, the organization, all of it? I already have. He pulled me into his lap, held me close. The moment you walked into my office, I started walking away. You just helped me finish the journey. And Simone? I don't regret a single step, because everyone brought me closer to you. I kissed him, tasting freedom and futures and love that had survived violence and betrayal. So where do we go? Beach in Mexico? Island in the Caribbean? Somewhere no one knows Marcus Kane, the crime boss? Somewhere no one knows Marcus Kane at all. He kissed me back. I'll be just Marcus. You'll be just Simone, and we'll be happy. It's that simple. Nothing with you is simple. Fair, he laughed. But this could be, if we let it, if we choose the simple, happy ending over the complicated, dangerous one. I choose you, I said. Simple, complicated, dangerous, all of it. As long as we're together? Together, he agreed. Always. We sat by the lake as the sun set, 2 people who'd found each other in darkness and decided to walk into the light together. The empire was gone. The danger was over. And ahead of us lay possibilities neither of us had dared imagine 3 weeks ago. A future. A real one. Built not on crime and violence, but on love and trust and second chances. It wasn't the ending I expected when I first audited Aurora Development Corporation. It was better. 6 months later. The beach house in Costa Rica was nothing like Marcus's Chicago penthouse. It was smaller, warmer, filled with light instead of shadows. White walls, comfortable furniture, a kitchen where Marcus cooked every morning while I worked on my laptop at the counter. No bulletproof glass, no security systems, no weapons hidden in every room. Just a home. Our home. I woke to the sound of waves and Marcus's arm draped over my waist, his breath warm against my neck. For a moment, I just lay there, marveling at how different my life had become. 6 months ago, I was a forensic accountant living alone, working too much, trusting no one. Now I was, what, Marcus's wife? His partner? The woman who'd helped him burn a criminal empire and run away to paradise? All of the above, I decided, and gloriously happy about it. "You're thinking too loud," Marcus murmured against my shoulder, pulling me closer. "It's 6 a.m. Thinking is prohibited until after coffee." "I'm thinking about how much I love this, us, this life we built." "Good thoughts, then." He kissed my neck and I shivered. 6 months together and he still made my pulse race with the simplest touch. Though I have some thoughts that would be even better. "Do you?" I rolled to face him, found him already smiling, already reaching for me. "What kind of thoughts?" "The kind that involve significantly less clothing and significantly more." His phone rang. We both froze. The only people who had that number were Diego, Nina, and a handful of contacts we'd maintained for emergencies. A call at 6 a.m. meant something was wrong. Marcus grabbed the phone from the nightstand, checked the caller ID, and his expression went grim. "It's Diego. I have to take this." I nodded, sitting up as he answered. "This better be important," Marcus said. "We're on a beach in paradise, trying to pretend the past doesn't exist. What's—" He stopped, listening. His face went pale. "When? Are they okay?" "No, don't. We're coming. Give me 12 hours. He hung up and I already knew. Something had pulled us back into the world we'd tried to leave behind. "What happened?" I asked. "Jasmine and the kids." His voice was tight. "Someone grabbed them outside their house this morning. Diego's team is tracking them, but Simone, whoever did this, left a message. They want you. They know you're alive, know we're together, and they're using your family as leverage." Ice flooded my veins. Who? Tom's dead. The Empire's destroyed. Who's left? "I don't know, but we're going to find out." He was already moving, pulling clothes from drawers, packing with the efficiency of someone who'd done this too many times. "Pack light. We leave in 30 minutes. "Marcus," my voice cracked, "if they hurt them—" He crossed to me, pulled me into his arms. "They won't. We'll get them back. I promise you, Simone. Your family will be safe, even if I have to burn down half of Chicago to make it happen." I believed him. Because I'd seen what Marcus Kane was capable of when protecting people he loved. And he loved me. Which meant he'd move heaven and earth for Jasmine and the kids. We were on a private plane within an hour, one of the few resources Marcus had kept from his old life just in case. As we flew toward Chicago, I pulled up my laptop and started digging, following money trails, checking old contacts, looking for anyone with motive to come after us. "Could it be someone from Tom's organization?" I asked. "Someone looking for revenge?" "Possible. But Tom's people scattered when the Empire collapsed. Most went back to their own operations, wanted nothing to do with the fallout." Marcus was on his phone, coordinating with Diego. "This feels more personal, more targeted. They didn't just grab random people, they grabbed your family specifically. Someone who knows you'd come running. Everyone we dealt with is dead or disappeared." "Not everyone." Marcus looked up from his phone. "There's one person we never accounted for. Vanessa." My stomach dropped. "You said Diego had her contained, that she was secure." She was. Until 3 weeks ago when she escaped during a medical transport." He showed me Diego's text. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. Thought she'd run, disappear, want nothing to do with us. But if she's the one who took Jasmine, she wants the same thing Tom wanted. Revenge." I closed my laptop. "She blames you for her son's death, and she knows hurting my family is the fastest way to hurt me, which hurts you." "Then she made a critical error." Marcus's expression went cold, the crime boss returning beneath the beach house facade. She forgot that I'm very, very good at protecting what's mine, and your family is mine now too. We landed in Chicago 8 hours after leaving Costa Rica. Diego met us at a private airfield with Nina and 3 men I recognized from Marcus's old security team. Status? Marcus asked as we climbed into an SUV. They're being held at a warehouse in Pilsen, Diego reported. Same one Tom used for storage before everything went down. Vanessa has maybe 6 people with her. Low-level operators she recruited from Tom's scattered organization, not professionals. Desperate people looking for a payday. Are Jasmine and the kids hurt? Not that we can tell from surveillance. Vanessa wants them intact as leverage. Nina showed me thermal imaging on a tablet. Your sister and the kids are in a back room, guarded by 2 people. Vanessa and the others are in the main warehouse space. They're expecting you to come alone, Simone. Walk in, trade yourself for your family. Then that's what I'll do. No, Marcus grabbed my hand. That's what Vanessa wants. We're not giving her that satisfaction. We're going in hard, fast, and with enough firepower that she doesn't have time to hurt anyone. Marcus, if we spook her, if we negotiate with her, she wins. His voice was steel. I didn't spend 15 years building a reputation for ruthlessness just to let some desperate woman think she can threaten my family. We end this tonight, completely. He was right. I knew he was right. But the thought of Jasmine and the kids in danger made my chest tight with fear. Trust me, Marcus said softly, lifting my hand to his lips. I've done this before. I know how to get them out safely, but I need you to trust me, Simone. Can you do that? I thought about the last 6 months, about the man who cooked me breakfast on a beach, who made love to me like I was precious, who'd given up everything he'd built because I was worth more than an empire. That man wouldn't let my family die. I trust you, I said. Good. He turned to Diego. Full tactical. We go in from 3 sides, control the exits, neutralize any resistance. Priority 1 is extracting Simone's family unharmed. Priority 2 is containing Vanessa. Priority 3, his smile was cold. Priority 3 is making sure no one ever threatens my family again. The warehouse looked exactly like I remembered from financial records. Industrial, isolated, the perfect place for illegal activity. Marcus positioned his team with military precision, then turned to me. You stay with Nina in the van, he said. Monitor communications, coordinate the extraction once we have your family secured. I should be in there. You should be safe. He cupped my face. Simone, I can't focus on the mission if I'm worried about you. Please, let me do this. Let me protect your family the only way I know how. Which is? Violently and without mercy. He kissed me once, hard. Be ready to move when I give the signal. And Simone, I love you. No matter what happens in there, remember that. You're scaring me. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. He kissed me again. Stay sharp, beautiful. This ends tonight. Then he was gone, moving toward the warehouse with Diego and the team, weapons ready, every inch the dangerous man I'd met in my office 6 months ago. The man who collected debts and broke people who crossed him. The man who'd become my entire world. I stayed in the van with Nina, watching multiple screens showing thermal imaging and tactical feeds. Watched Marcus's team breach the warehouse, moving like ghosts through shadows. Gunfire erupted. Brief, controlled, professional. Nina's voice crackled in my ear. 2 tangos down, east entrance secured. More gunfire, someone screaming. Then Diego's voice. Package located, 3 civilians unharmed, moving to extract. Relief flooded through me. They were okay. Jasmine and the kids were okay. But then I heard Marcus's voice, tight with rage. I have Vanessa. She's wearing a vest. Everyone out now. A bomb. Vanessa had wired herself with explosives. Marcus, get out of there! I screamed into the comms, but he wasn't listening. Through the thermal imaging, I watched him approach Vanessa, watched them face off while his team evacuated with my family. Watched him try to talk her down, to convince her that killing everyone wouldn't bring back her son. And I watched Vanessa reach for the trigger. I was out of the van before Nina could stop me, running toward the warehouse, screaming Marcus's name. Diego appeared with Jasmine and the kids, tried to grab me, but I was past him, through the door, into the warehouse where Marcus stood 10 feet from a woman wired to explode. "Simone, get out!" Marcus's voice was raw. "Now! Not without you." I moved toward them slowly, hands visible. "Vanessa, please, don't do this. Don't make more victims. Your son wouldn't want this." "You don't know what my son would want." But her hand was shaking on the trigger. "He was good, kind. He made one mistake, borrowed money from the wrong person, and it cost him everything. Why should Marcus get to live? Why should he get happiness when my son is dead?" "Because killing him won't bring Michael back." I was close enough now to see tears streaming down her face. "It'll just make you a murderer. Make you like the people who hurt your son. Is that what you want? To become the thing you hate?" "I want justice." Justice would be making Marcus live with the guilt of what happened, making him spend every day trying to be better than he was. I glanced at Marcus, saw the anguish in his eyes. "He's tried to be better, Vanessa. He burned his empire, walked away from everything. He can't undo what happened to Michael, but he's trying to make sure it never happens to anyone else. Isn't that worth something?" "It's not worth my son's life." But her hand had dropped slightly. "No, nothing is." I moved closer to Marcus, took his hand. "But it's a start. And killing us doesn't end the cycle. It just continues it. Someone will want revenge on you. Then someone will want revenge on them. When does it stop? When is there finally enough blood to balance the scales?" Vanessa looked at me, at Marcus, at our joined hands, and something in her broke. The trigger fell from her fingers, and she collapsed to her knees, sobbing. He was my baby, my only child, and he died because of money, because of debts. How do I live with that? Marcus moved toward her slowly, knelt beside her. "You live by remembering him, by honoring his memory, by being better than the system that killed him." He carefully started removing the vest. I held my breath the entire time, and when it was finally off, deactivated, he met her eyes. "Michael deserved better. You deserve better, so let me help you. Let me make sure other people don't end up like your son. That's not redemption, but it's something." Vanessa stared at him. Then, quietly, "How?" "Work with me. Help me identify the people in Chicago who are trapped in debt cycles, who need help getting out. I'll fund programs, create alternatives, make sure fewer people end up desperate enough to borrow from criminals." He held out his hand. "I can't bring Michael back, but I can try to honor his memory by making sure fewer mothers lose their sons. Will you help me do that?" For a long moment, Vanessa just looked at his offered hand. Then she took it. "I'll help. But Marcus," her voice was steel beneath the tears, "if you ever hurt someone the way you hurt my son again, I'll finish what I started tonight. Understood?" "Understood." He helped her stand. "And Vanessa, I'm sorry for what happened to Michael, for not knowing, for building a system that made his death possible. I'm sorry." She nodded, let Diego lead her away to be processed and evaluated, and hopefully helped. Then Marcus was pulling me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. "You ran into a building with a live bomb," he said into my hair. "Are you insane? You were in that building. Where else would I be?" I pulled back to look at him. "You don't get to sacrifice yourself heroically without me, Marcus. We're partners. That means we face bombs together or not at all. You're infuriating. You're impossible." I kissed him. "And I love you. So much. Even when you're being a martyr. I love you too." He kissed me back, desperate and relieved. "Even when you're being reckless, especially when you're being reckless." Outside, I found Jasmine and the kids surrounded by Diego's team, shaken but unhurt. Jasmine saw me and immediately burst into tears. "Simone! Oh my God, they said you were dead. I thought I'd never see you again." I ran to her, pulled her and the kids into my arms. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you got dragged into this. Are you okay? Are the kids hurt?" "We're fine. Scared, but fine." She pulled back, studied me. "You look different. Tan, happy despite..." She glanced at Marcus, who was coordinating with Diego. Is that him? The man you disappeared with? That's him. I smiled. It's a long story. Can I tell you over coffee? Actual coffee, not crisis coffee? I'm going to need a lot of coffee for this story. But she was smiling too. And Simone? I'm glad you're not dead. The kids would have been devastated, and I would have killed you myself for making me worry. 2 weeks later, the foundation launched quietly. Just a press release and a website, no big announcement. The Michael Chen Memorial Fund, dedicated to helping people trapped in debt cycles, providing financial education, offering alternatives to predatory lending. It was funded by the remnants of Marcus's old empire, the cash he'd hidden that Tom never found, liquidated, and legitimized through careful structuring. Not enough to rebuild what he'd lost, but enough to make a difference. Vanessa ran it, Marcus advised, and I managed the books, making sure every dollar was accounted for, every person helped, every life changed, documented. We didn't go back to Costa Rica, didn't run away again. Instead, we bought a house in Evanston, close enough to the city for the foundation work, but far enough for peace. Marcus opened that restaurant he'd joked about, a small place serving the kind of food he'd learned to cook in his years building an empire. I consulted for nonprofits, using my forensic accounting skills to help organizations instead of destroy them. It was quiet, normal, everything we'd never thought we could have. You're staring again, Marcus said from the kitchen where he was prepping for dinner service. I'm admiring. I looked up from my laptop at the small table in the corner, my office, such as it was, thinking about how far we've come, how different our lives are. Better or worse? Different. I closed the laptop, moved to him. Not better or worse, just ours. Real. Built on something other than crime and fear. Built on love. He pulled me close, kissed me softly. And second chances. And the stubborn belief that people can change if they're given reasons to. Are you happy? I asked. Really happy? Or do you miss the power, the empire, the thrill of being untouchable? He considered this seriously. Sometimes I miss the adrenaline, the feeling of controlling something massive. But then I come home to you, to this life we built, and I realize I have everything that matters. A woman I love who sees me clearly and loves me anyway. Purpose that doesn't require hurting people. A future that isn't just survival. So yeah, Simone, I'm happy. Happier than I've ever been. Good, I kissed him again. Because I have news that's going to make you even happier, or possibly terrified. 50-50 odds. What news? I took his hand, placed it on my still flat stomach. I'm pregnant. 8 weeks, due in March. And before you panic, yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'm happy about it. And yes, you're going to be a father, whether you're ready or not. Marcus stared at me, at his hand on my stomach, at me again. And then he smiled, the biggest, most genuine smile I'd ever seen from him. A baby. His voice was wonder and awe. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. I watched emotions play across his face, joy, fear, hope, determination. You're okay with this? Okay? Simone, this is... He pulled me into his arms, held me carefully like I was suddenly fragile. This is everything. A future I never thought I'd have. A family, something good and pure that came from us, from this love that shouldn't have worked but did anyway. They're going to have a reformed criminal for a father and an accountant who helped burn down an empire for a mother. We're not exactly conventional parents. Conventional is overrated. He kissed me, then my stomach, then me again. We're going to be amazing parents, flawed and imperfect and probably slightly paranoid about security. But amazing, because we know what's at stake. We know how precious this is. I love you. The words felt inadequate for what I felt. I love you so much, Marcus Kane, my debt collector, my partner, my impossible, beautiful second chance. I love you too, Simone Kane. He'd started calling me that after the foundation launched, even though we'd never officially married. My brilliant accountant, my conscience, my reason for becoming someone worthy of this life. We stood in his restaurant, in the life we'd built from ashes, and kissed like we had all the time in the world. Because we did. No more running, no more looking over our shoulders, no more debts to collect or empires to burn. Just us, our future, and the impossible love that had survived everything thrown at it. Some debts, I'd learned, could only be paid in love, loyalty, and the courage to start over. Marcus and I had paid those debts in full, and we were finally, beautifully free. Epilogue. 5 years later, Marcus Jr., we called him MJ, turned 4 today, and the house was chaos. Kids from his preschool, Jasmine's family, Diego and Nina, who'd become honorary aunt and uncle, and even Vanessa, who'd become something like family in the years since that night in the warehouse. The Michael Chen Memorial Fund had grown, helped hundreds of families, and Vanessa had found purpose in continuing her son's memory through good works. I watched Marcus chase MJ through the backyard, both laughing, covered in cake frosting, and felt overwhelming gratitude for this impossible life. "He's good at that," Jasmine said, appearing beside me with her wine. "The dad thing. Who knew a crime boss would be such a softie?" "He's always been soft underneath." I sipped my water. Pregnant again, due in 4 months, still couldn't believe we were doing this twice. He just needed reasons to show it. And you gave him those reasons. She bumped my shoulder. "I'm proud of you, you know, for building this, for choosing love over safety, for being brave enough to follow your heart even when it led somewhere terrifying," says the woman who forgave me for accidentally getting her kidnapped. That was a fun Tuesday, but she was smiling. "Seriously though, Simone, you're happy, really, genuinely happy. That's all I ever wanted for you." "I am happy." I watched Marcus scoop up MJ, heard my son's delighted shriek. Deliriously, impossibly happy, with a man who used to collect debts and now collects memories, who gave up an empire for a family, who loves me and our son like we're his religion. "That's beautiful," Jasmine said. Slightly dramatic, but beautiful. "I learned from the best," I smiled. "He's very dramatic. You should hear his speeches about proper risotto technique." That night, after the party ended and MJ was finally asleep, Marcus found me on the back porch watching stars. "Successful party?" he asked, pulling me into his arms from behind. "Very, though I think we'll be finding cake in weird places for weeks." "Worth it." He rested his chin on my head, one hand splaying across my growing belly. "How's baby number 2 doing?" "Active. I think this one's going to be a soccer player or a kickboxer." "Strong, like their mother." He kissed my temple. "You know what I was thinking today? Watching MJ with all those kids, seeing how loved he is, how happy. What? That I never thought I'd have this. A family, a home, peace." His arms tightened. "I built an empire thinking it would make me powerful, make me matter, but it just made me alone. And then you walked into my office looking for hidden money, and you found something better than $15 million. What's that?" "Me, the real me, the man underneath the debt collector." He turned me in his arms. "You found me, Simone, saved me, gave me reasons to be better than I was, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life being worthy of that gift." "You already are worthy." I cupped his face. "You're a good man, Marcus, a good father, a good husband, even if we're not technically married. We should fix that." He pulled something from his pocket, a ring, simple and beautiful. "I know we've been calling you Simone Kane for years, but maybe we should make it official. Give our kids the security of knowing their parents are committed in every way." "Are you proposing to me?" "I'm asking you to marry me. Again, properly this time, not just in spirit, with ceremony and witnesses and legal documents." He slipped the ring on my finger. "Perfect fit, of course. Marry me, Simone. Make this family official. Let me be your husband in more than just name." "Yes." I kissed him through happy tears. "Yes, of course, yes. Though we should probably explain to MJ that we're already married in all the ways that matter. He's 4. He'll just be excited about cake." Marcus kissed me again. "I love you. More than empires, more than power, more than anything I thought mattered before you." I love you too. I pressed my forehead to his. My impossible, beautiful second chance, my reformed debt collector, my everything. We stood on our porch under stars, two people who'd found each other in darkness and built a life in light, who'd survived violence and betrayal and impossible odds to reach this moment, a family, a future, a love that had conquered everything. Some debts could never be repaid, some loves were worth every risk, and sometimes the most dangerous obsession turned into the safest home. I'd inherited billions in my old life, but Marcus had given me something more valuable. A life worth living, a love worth fighting for, a future worth believing in. And really, that was worth more than all the money in the world.